This is the best word puzzle game I've ever played, and somehow it's open world. The closest comparison is the Witness Antichamber, is what this game is like. It is so obscure, it's unsearchable, the graphics look like Roblox, and the loading and menu has some significant issues, but behind these first impressions is a game with so much content and exploration of word game mechanics that I have been obsessed with this game for the past 2 months. The main mechanic of this game are panels on the walls with text on them. When you input the right answer, they turn green, and they do show the length of the answer. Now, at the very start of the game, these are literally just the same word, but certain mechanics modify the word that you need to type. And figuring out what these mechanics are and how the answer changes depending on various things in the environment is a huge part of this game. I'm going to go through one of the intro sequences to show what I mean. So this is a very early area with pairs of panels. So eventually you type in the word of the other panel, and this solves it. Now this is probably one of the most important early sections, because something really important is here that is harder to notice in other areas. Anyway, when you get through that, you'll actually notice that one of these panels isn't paired. It just says close. Now, you can discover mechanics kind of open-endedly, but I'll just tell you right now the answer is open. If you consider this area as being about opposites, then you'll get this. You can also get this by context because there's another area that's very nearby, where the entrance to that room is also open. So yeah, there's a theme of big rooms that contain a lot of panels in this game, and often there are great ways to discover mechanics. For example, this hello panel has a length 2 solution. It's high. And from there you can figure out this room is about synonyms. There's also blocks with 2 panels on them, and these share an answer. This is just one of the ways that panels can share answers in this game. There are also vertically stacked panels, and they also all have the same answer. So very early on, you'll find this room with tunnels to the 3 different primary colors. Wait, yellow isn't primary? Okay, fine, we have green too. Anyway, each of them is its own area if you go in here. So you can see some other stuff here, but the more important thing is this big red room. This is about the closest thing you'll get to a tutorial in this game, although again, the game doesn't use any explicit tutorials for anything. So you have all of these big rooms that focus on a different color. And, as I'm sure is obvious by now, the colors are something that matter, as they impact how the word changes and how you get the answer. Now, there are a bunch of these big rooms in the game, but there are many areas that are a lot more open than this. And of course, use the non-euclidean geometry, and often colors are introduced before you find any tutorial for them, which gives you a chance to figure out the mechanic just from stray blocks in the world. So you build this mental model of what each color does, like we have black, which is antonyms, red removes letters, and blue adds letters. But I still haven't told you one really important thing, which is another modifier. So this is the sense in which I've misled you about how the black, the red, and the blue work, because if you try these at any different heights, they're not going to work. So again, this game is all about figuring out what each of these pairs of color and height mean. And this is the same feeling as trying to figure out what a new symbol means in a game like The Witness. And of course, this is not the only revelation about this game. There are many strange things in the environment, such as false walls, or things that you didn't expect had a purpose, that end up having a purpose. You can find hidden puzzles, and corridors that you didn't notice before. And the game also extends these mechanics in interesting ways, even if you think you've seen all of the colors. For example, this is one of my favorite sequences in the game. We have the left, which is an antonym, so you type right. But on the other side, there is this left, and the answer for this one is not right. And then there's constructions like this one, and blocks can reference things you wouldn't expect, or it can have just blocks that have nothing at all on them. By far my favorite moment in this game is the discovery of the yellow bottom combo. There is a Steam guide written for a little bit older version of the game, and they mention that there's only one of these in the game, and even the writer doesn't know. Yet, the kind of realization and pattern recognition with figuring out a panel that only has one block that even uses this pair was one of the best feelings. Unfortunately, things have kind of changed since then, and the puzzle is now more logically sound, but in my opinion, less satisfying. Okay, now here's where I spam you with walls of text of minor flaws in the game. I still really like the game, but these aspects could be improved. So this game has a shocking amount of content in it, and yes, this is in part because the graphics aren't that good. It's got many content updates, a bonus post-game map, another big map is coming down the line, and there are already custom maps for it. There's 3 custom maps already, all of which explore even deeper ideas. Lingo is a map about triplets where every puzzle has 2 words that combine into a big word, and several areas that explore this concept with different colors and heights. And it also has a really tricky section where it extends the gray color mechanic. There is also Highland by Leaving Leaves, which is a map that uses only one type of letter clue, high, as well as a bunch of extra symbols that you have to figure out the meaning of. And it's honestly unbelievable just how many puzzles there are when the only clue this map ever uses is high. Although there's a lot of subtle environment clues, similar to how the main game does it. It's probably the biggest meme of a concept, and it somehow works very well. There is also Multiverse, which completely re-extends and reinterprets the entire Lingo rule set. It's still grounded in the original colors somewhat, but it really subverts your expectations. By the way, I've been working on a custom map for the game as well over the past few months. But you know, it would be very awkward to talk about it before making this video, so here I am, announcing it. And yeah, some of the motivation to make this map was definitely because I thought I could do better than some of the flaws in that wall of text. So some of the blues and purples are more clear. The oranges are actually solvable before you find the orange tutorial. And there's a lot of new mechanics and concepts that I've come up with. It doesn't make any type of monetary sense or anything like that to spend months working on this map. Well, I don't think about it that way. It's just that there are too many good ideas in design space, and I had to make them. So, first there's like wild cards, which can stand in for any letter. There are new side modifiers that can change what a block does. One of my favorite sections I've ever made is an error room, where the gimmick is that some of the text is obscured, but it goes even further than that. So making this map, I basically had to come up with an alternative version to every area in the game. Don't even know how I pull that off. So my version of the left puzzle, because I liked it so much in the original game, is this. Once you solve that one, you get this. Oh yeah, there's checkerboards now. Probably my favorite mechanic in this map. Now, even though I've tried to keep the video kind of spoiler-free, the base game mechanics are actually organized enough that you could probably reverse engineer all of this if you tried. But here is the sequence of checkerboard tutorial puzzles. Would not be surprised if this gets spoiled in the comments. I would prefer that it would be hidden beneath the read more, just to put some padding lines before the spoilers, but whatever. There's probably not that many games that can cause someone to go on a massive map-making tangent, and this one did it. I think one thing is that the mechanics are relatively easy to conceptualize, and so it's also easy to make or solve puzzles with it just in your head. Anyway, I'm not sure if making a huge custom map can count as a super endorsement for this game, but highly recommend this game. Yeah. I guess one last thing. I'm planning to do a video on Witness likes. I need to find a format that will allow me to talk about games that are too long, or I haven't done a playthrough on, or that I've already played. And it feels like this would be a good time because the game Grid Spec has just came out, which is sort of a Witness-like. And so there's no open world in this one, but the input of a grid and symbols on a grid is definitely there. Alright, that sure was an outro.